Penny is a beautiful blonde with green with specks of brown eyes and the body of a supermodel. She just so happens to be the neighbor to two roommates slash best friends who also happen to be physicists. As time goes by, she integrates into this physicist slash close friends group and becomes a beloved character in the series. The Big Bang Theory cast is one that I've always been familiar with because they are so big in pop culture. But it is only after I recently started watching the series myself that I realized that Penny is actually a very morally conflicting character. But before we get into that, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and I would really appreciate it. There are quite a few episodes where it is established that Penny was the mean girl in her school days.
Okay, here, take this, and this, and this, and these.
Is this all stuff you want me to try on?
No, this is stuff I want you to throw out. Seriously, don't even give it to charity. You won't be helping anyone.
Two moments stand out in my mind right now. There was that episode where Penny decided to take another shot at her acting career. Her and a bunch of other people were auditioning for a role. It was at this moment that she admitted that she's the one who spread the rumor about her other acting friend pushing 40 in order to harm her career.
They're gonna love you. I heard she's pushing 40 and everything's fake.
Yeah, I started that rumor.
Another time is when she was sharing what she thought was a funny story from high school, but her friends Amy and Bernadette see the story for what it was. It was a bullying story, because in her story, they recognized themselves in the girls who were being picked on. Penny's arc not only shows you life from the perspective of the bully, but it also shows you how life actually plays out. And I think that can be damaging to our psyche, because our society is based around this concept, where if someone is bad, they should pay for their consequences, and thereafter go to live a miserable life. But as Penny explains these scenarios, we see that she's not even aware that she was being a bad person. And it reminded me of a story that was going viral in pop culture just last month about this great actor who is from Korea, and she was acting in a famous Netflix series called The Glory. She was accused of being a bully in middle school, and she actually came out and admitted that she was a bystander to the bullying, but she didn't participate. Kim Hyora, I hope I said that right, and Penny have the same story. It's a story that proves that people are not just one thing, which is quite frustrating. Someone who once bullied you also has hopes and dreams and aspirations and connections and relationships where people are depending on them. These types of stories let you know that people are not just the moment they were bad to you. That moment was just a small part of their journey, and they can actually go from that moment to be successful and find love and be happy. And once again, that is frustrating, because what do we do with the anger that we have towards them? These stories tell us that we don't always get our revenge, and even if we do, sometimes the bully doesn't even know they were the bad guy.
I thought we were letting it go.
We were. It's not fair, okay? They're bad people. It's not supposed to end happy for them. It's supposed to end happy for me.
It did end happy for you. You're here with me.
Yeah, I know.
From the beginning of the series, we know that Penny is a struggling actress, like struggling. That means she is always low on finances and survives from her job as a waitress at the Cheesecake Factory. But Penny survived poverty simply because she is drop dead gorgeous. Because Leonard finds her attractive, he allows her to feed off of them. And because everyone in the group finds her attractive and wants to keep her around, she now has personal access to a highly intellectual group that is out of her tax bracket.
Thank you all for this high honor.
Later on in the series, she gets a job as a pharmaceutical sales rep, which pays even higher than a physicist. Not because she is qualified in any way, but because of the connections that she has to this specific group and to Bernadette, who is really high up in her field.
I'm mentioning her connections with the group as well, because the point is, if Penny and Leonard had not been on and off, Bernadette wouldn't have given Penny that job.
And I know people might come for me talking about how she knew Bernadette first because they were working together as waitresses at the Cheesecake Factory. But if we're being realistic and had to look at life at how it usually plays out, after Bernadette got her job at the pharmaceutical company, their friendship would have fallen off because they simply had a cordial relationship, or at best a circumstantial friendship. They have nothing in common, they work in different fields, and Bernadette, if not at work, is usually at home. There would have been no points for their time to overlap in order to strengthen their bond. Penny also has a best friend who is Amy, who adores her because she feels like she is finally friends with the cool girls back in school.
Sheldon told me about Leonard dating Rajesh's sister, so I hightailed it over here to pick up the pieces of your broken heart.
Amy, I'm fine.
You don't have to be strong for me. Now let's talk about Priya, that man-stealing bitch.
She is basically using Penny to heal her high school trauma, which was caused by people who are just like Penny. And last but not least, she has a phenomenal relationship with a man who adores the ground she walks on and literally bends to her every whim.
Bat signal? What are you, some kind of nerd?
Not some kind of nerd. I am the king of nerds.
What does that mean?
It means if anyone displeases me, I don't help them set up their printer.
And not because she tried, but because this man kept on begging to pursue her, even with her very visible roster of men. We see Penny getting ahead in life, getting a great job, having one of the best relationships, or at least what we would consider a normal relationship in society, and a wonderful group of friends. Not because she tried or because she was nice, but because of all her superficial characteristics. There is an episode that stuck with me. One fateful day, an equally beautiful lady moved into the apartment building. And almost instantly, Penny started to be ignored and the new lady started getting all the attention. The boys gave in to her every whim, helped her settle in. They helped her set up her TV, all while Penny remained invisible.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey, Penny, this is Alicia, our new neighbor.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm helping.
I can see.
But one funny thing about this episode is that it clearly shows how we would view Penny if we didn't know her backstory. A dumb blonde who takes advantage of the intellectually superior but socially awkward males in her life. She was threatened and disgusted by herself.
Anyways, you know how guys like this are, so please don't take advantage of them.
Who says I'm taking advantage of them?
Come on, they're doing everything for you because you're leading them on.
So I let them do stuff for me. They're happy, I get stuff, who cares? And how's it any different from what you do?
Excuse me?
I've seen you around them. Are you pretending like you don't do the exact same thing?
She was literally looking in a mirror, and there is nothing more unsettling than someone who doesn't like themselves. Another episode that stuck with me in the story of Penny is when she realized that her most marketable features, which were her youth and her beauty, were dwindling away. From what I remember, the lines and reservations to get into this exclusive restaurant were too long, and so she tried to get in the easy way by flirting with the male receptionist, as she had done multiple times in the past. This man looked her politely in the face with a smile, and in the middle of his apology and explanation, he called her ma'am. And later, he clearly implied that she was way older than him. If I'm not mistaken, she stormed out. With the character of Penny and what she represents in the larger scale of storytelling, I thought this would be a comforting and satisfying moment. But I was wrong. It was quite sad, and I really felt her pain. I wondered what it would feel like to be stripped of the only asset that you have been told you have by society as a whole. Now it's dwindling away, and it's no one's fault, and you can do nothing about it. And here again is an example of why we hate to love Penny. It's because now that we have been told her story and we see life from her perspective, we can't help but feel empathy for the villain.
Another movie that represents the story of Penny is Clueless, because if it hadn't been told from the perspective of the main actor, we would just be watching another Mean Girls movie.
But we must not forget, Penny's character has not really changed from high school. There is no redemption arc, there is no major character development. She is who she is and was, with no remorse. There are moments here and there where she acknowledges that she was a mean girl, but it is not in the sense of I was wrong. It was more in the sense of that's just how things were and are, and I guess it was sad. And some would argue that her failed acting career is karma for being a bully, but if we're being honest, the compensations she got from her failed career, like her job, her love life, and her community, really blows that argument out of the water, especially because later she realizes that she really loves how her life turned out. Instead of the usual, she lives tragically and suffers silently until she dies fairy tale, we see that Penny instead starts to understand the nerds and even becomes a part of them.
Hey, Leonard, check this out.
No!
Oh yeah, Yeah, you can't sit there.
Why not?
That's where Sheldon sits.
He can't sit somewhere else?
No, you see, in the winter, that seat is close enough to the radiator so that he's warm, yet not so close that he sweats. In the summer, it's directly in the path of a cross breeze created by opening windows there and there. It faces the television at an angle that isn't direct, so we can still talk to everybody, yet not so wide that the picture looks distorted.
Perhaps there's hope for you after all.
And all this happens subconsciously. So there is never a satisfying conscious learning experience or realization that what I did was wrong. The thing is, we don't go to cinema to watch reality. We go to watch fairy tales, stories that touch and comfort us, stories that detach us from reality. We go to feed our delusions. That's why realistic news is never a bestseller. Neither is centrism. The less specific propaganda you have, the less of an audience you will have. That's why news channels are so polarized, because we don't consume to be informed, but rather to solidify our own hypotheses. But the fact that a character like Penny goes on from season to season, and we continue to fall in love with her despite her realistic flaws, is not only proof of how perspective changing a full story of humanity is, but also great evidence of what a great writer is capable of. To an extent, I believe we're all fighting for a certain reality that will make our lives and ultimately the world a better place. But Penny represents the worst reason that you can give to a revolutionist, especially when they are fighting for a cause that they believe in. When you are fighting for change, this statement, I believe, is the most infuriating, because it implies that there is nothing you can do about it. In all her perfections and all her flaws, which are humanity, Penny embodies this statement to a T. This statement being, that's just the way it is. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.